Welcome to SVGTV News for Monday, November 17th. I'm Jimmy Prince with the details. A two-day consultancy workshop is being held here with respect to the implementation of the Caribbean Single Market and Economy. A two-day consultancy, which is to train officials for the standardization of administrative practices and the procedures under the CSME, forms part of the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Project funded by the Government of Canada. Head of the Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit here, Ambassador Ellsworth John, says the goal of the CTCP is to provide more and better opportunities for the people of the CARICOM region to participate in and benefit from the introduction of the single market and economy. John adds that under the project, the CARICOM Secretariat, in collaboration with the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States Commission, will fulfill part of the mandate given by the community to help member states to implement their CSME obligations.
These interventions are to facilitate the operational effectiveness of the CSME to ensure that rights and benefits expected by nationals of the community are not frustrated by elements of the implementation process. There are four basic components of this particular project: harmonization and standardization of administrative practices and procedure, enhancing the effective function of the services and labor markets through standardized licensing and certification, and mutual recognition of license and certificates, widening the scope of participants by stakeholders and beneficiaries in the process of decision-making, implementation, and operation of the single market. And what we are dealing with substantively over the next 2 days, which is the call-down facility for consultation.
He describes the project as an ambitious undertaking by the CARICOM community, which focuses on a better functioning of the CARICOM single market and economy for the people of the region.
By addressing reform and implementation and improvement of administrative and regulatory systems, improve access to the market and services market of the community, and increase participation by all civil society. Today we are here because we expect to benefit from the consultancy which is carried out by A to Z Information Jamaica Limited, and which is aimed at improving access to rights under the CARICOM Single Market and Economy. As government administrators, you will be trained on the documents and workflow management systems. This is an online facility which will be practically demonstrated with assimilation exercises by the Caribbean Community CARICOM consultant.
Meanwhile, Ambassador John says now more than ever, the people of the region need to feel a part of the process of regionalism.
Gradually, more people are becoming aware of their rights as offered by the revised Treaty of Chagaramas. As a result, they are beginning to legally question the practices and policies of member states, as in the Shanique Myrie case. There is a demand for transparency and accountability to the point where a formal complaints mechanism is in train to become operational in the new year. Basically, when you travel throughout the region, there will be a form at the immigration that will be given to all CARICOM nationals. And if they feel that in any way they have not been afforded what is promised under the single market and economy, they can fill out that complaint form and their concerns will have to be addressed.
Salas Hamilton of the Caribbean Single Market and Economy at the Barbados office, and he says the two-day training is an important element of the effort by the CARICOM community as it seeks to improve the single market administration and access to rights under the CSME.
Testament to ongoing efforts by member governments and the community to further complete and make the single market arrangements more accessible and business friendly. It provides targeted support to member states in areas of legislative and administrative reform, institutional strengthening, and improvement of channels of information.
Meanwhile, Dr. Noel Watson of AZ Consultants Jamaica Limited says the new system is designed to transform the way things are done in the region.
Relates to skilled national certificates, service provider certificates, the movement of persons under the right of establishment to set up businesses. And we hope to have a component that will allow customs to be linked in to the system through their systems that will provide data on a more current basis to people in the region. The system will also facilitate online application for certificates. Right now in no member state can you apply online, but the good news is, and we'll find out during this week, is that the system will allow you to pick up your Galaxy, your iPad, depending on what you use, your Samsung phone or your iPhone, your laptop and your desktop, and apply for these certificates, which are your rights to do so, and you can do so from anywhere that you are, as long as you have internet connection.
The local Department of Labour is making moves to bridge the divide between the demand for and availability of information on the local labour market. Following a number of preparatory activities over the last 4 months, the department last Tuesday held its final training workshop for 15 enumerators selected to conduct the job openings and the labour turnover survey. It began earlier today and will be carried out over a 3-week period. The survey was developed in an attempt to satisfy the need which exists locally, regionally and internationally for data on total employment, job openings, hires, quits, layoffs and other separations. The survey, which is being piloted here, will provide a framework on which similar programs will be launched in the OECS sub-region. The findings of the JOLT survey will feed into the Regional Caribbean Labour Market Information Systems, CLMIS. Economist in the Department of Labour and the coordinator of the Labour Market Information System, Steve Stewart, said the objectives of the survey are to obtain feedback from business enterprises on the state of the private sector and to help build a panel of enterprise data that would make it possible to track changes in the business environment over time.
Through the interviews conducted, the survey will assess the constraints to private sector growth and create statistically significant business environment indicators that are comparable to the OECS countries. Data from a sample of approximately 350 business establishments would be conducted by the Department of Labour. The JOLT survey sample would cover all non-agricultural industries in the private sector throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Data will be collected from such business establishments including retailers, manufacturers, construction firms, and the banking, hotel, and other service sector business enterprises. The data would then be analyzed by the Central Statistical Office and the findings published in both print and electronic media by January 2015.
Minister with responsibility for labour, Maxwell Charles, in his address said market information has become increasingly urgent owing to the impact of the global economic and financial crisis.
As Minister of Labour, I'm fully in support of the recent initiatives of the Labour Department in its efforts to seriously address the shortage of timely and relevant labour market information that still exists here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are making a desperate effort to make this information available. In this regard, the Ministry of Labour, through the Labour Department, have combined efforts with our regional partners such as the ILO Decent Work Team and Office for the Caribbean in Trinidad, the OECS Secretariat in St. Lucia, and the CARICOM CSME unit to establish a sustainable mechanism for obtaining reliable labour market information.
Minister Charles used the opportunity to list some of the benefits of this survey.
Relationships between employment, income, and other social and economic characteristics for the purpose of A, formulating and designing vocational training programs, human resource development, and other educational programs, and B, formulating and monitoring employment and other income generating and maintenance programs. Also,
to allow for an assessment of the performance of the labor market here in St. Vincent, focusing on our economy. And that would help to determine emerging weaknesses and to make prompt application of corrective measures. The data may also be used by the labor market analysts, economists, consultants, planners, forecasters, students and academics in both the private and public sector in conducting research and the need to support their findings or their positions with scientific data.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour, Audrey Gittens, said in keeping with the mandate of the government, the Department of Labour is continuing its efforts to expand its capacity to respond effectively to the needs of its stakeholders and to ensure that a wide range of labour market information is available on a timely basis, which is of a high quality.
Department of Labour, with ongoing technical assistance from the International Labour Organization, Decent Work Team, and Office for the Caribbean in Trinidad, undertook a revision of its labor administrative records and procedures. This revision resulted in the restructuring of the department's organizational structure and the establishment of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labor Market Information System. The department continues to ensure that this system is fully developed to develop timely and relevant labor market information, which is critical for policymakers as well as other users. The LMIS functions as the model upon which similar systems in the Eastern Caribbean are based, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines is pleased to be the leader in this regard.
The job openings and labour turnover survey will be conducted twice per year on an ongoing basis. Well, the National Regulatory Commission, that should be Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, NTRC, kicks off the judging component of the I-Squared competition earlier today with a presentation from schools in the Kingstown zone. The event held at the NIS conference room saw a number of schools representing their innovative ideas. The first presentation was of a tourism app to assist tourists while sightseeing in the country, presented by the Girls High School.
Do you smell that? There's tourism in the air. And as we all know, it's tourism month. So what would be a better time than now to promote our app? Sasurism SVG. Sasu ready, Sasu set, Sasu go. Just a tap away. Food is from the first letter in our name, Chanel, Alexis, Cherise, and Enrico. This is an innovative idea for an interactive app to assist stories when exploring St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The second presentation, also by the Girls High School, was about an online kiosk for persons seeking medical assistance at clinics and at the hospital.
We presented our idea of putting in place a kiosk system throughout all clinics and at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital with our tagline, "Cancer Service Kiosk Prevent Zombie Apocalypse." Before we proceed, these are some of the requirements of the system. Each citizen is required to register before an incident occurs. There will be a grace period of 3 months, which each citizen must be registered either at the local hospital, district clinics, or private hospital. In this way, all relevant information will have been gathered.
The other participants from Zone A are the Boys Grammar School and the Thomas Saunders Secondary. When we come back, the Teachers Union President appeals to teachers to stand firm with the union as it continues the fight for their rights. More stories on the local scene when we come back. The president of the Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, is appealing to teachers here to rally with their union. Addressing the annual Teachers Rally on Friday at Heritage Square, Robinson says as teachers they have to continue to take the lead, and if they fail to do so, the nation will not look upon them as a noble profession. He outlined that at a meeting with the IMF also on Friday, they took the opportunity to articulate some of the issues they have been facing, including appointments. He says there are over 68 teachers who are yet to be appointed, and the state must be held accountable for this.
Because our collective agreement continues to be violated. So we need to understand and appreciate that the struggle will continue. We have, as a leadership, to remain focused. We have to constantly reaffirm our position and defend our rights. If we fail to do so, then we need to vacate and let others who have that vision to come on board and to lead us in the straight and narrow road that leads to victory. This is not a time to sit back and be idle. We have to examine every single move that is made. Those of us in the leadership, we are seeing a number of paradigm shifts, and some of them are impacting on our freedom of association. Our freedom of expression is being challenged. That's why we have issues to be resolved in the courts. Our collective agreement has been violated, and the good wisdom of the judge said, yes, the teachers union has a case, and we will continue to pursue until justice is realized.
According to Robinson, while there is a talk of quality education and quality teaching, there are some persons who are being put in the profession without teacher training, which he says is another issue of concern to the union.
The state must be held accountable for this. If we're going to have quality teaching, we need quality teachers. And so we are calling on the state to do the right thing, because the teachers union is committed to quality education. Brothers and sisters, this battle is a very long one. This is a battle that we must fight, and we have to open our eyes and keep seeing the goals that we have to achieve. This is not the time to allow partisan political divide to control us. This is one union, the teachers union, and we have to hold each other's hand and march forth to victory. If we fail to do this, we would have done injustice to those who have led the struggles of 1975.
Two police clubs, or that should be police youth clubs, were formally launched on Saturday. They are the Georgetown and Byra Connery Police Youth Clubs. Currently, there are 19 police youth clubs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a membership of 742. Speaking at the launch, Prime Minister and the Parliamentary Representative, Dr. Gonsalves, says his government is not only interested in establishing police youth clubs, but is also interested in getting students involved in Scouts and Girl Guides. He added that they have increased the number of members in the Cadet Corps from just about 100 to over 1,200.
Out of that 1,200, we have a Marine wing, which is nearly 200 strong. The Marine wing is attached to the Coast Guard. If you notice, what we are trying to do is, in addition to the education which we are giving the children in the schools, we are seeking to build parallel organizations like the Police Youth Club, the Span Against Crime, and also the Cadet Corps, in order to instill discipline, commitment to the community, and patriotism.
At the same time, the Prime Minister used the opportunity to urge more young people to get involved in the various police youth clubs.
To encourage all of those in the secondary schools and very much so in the primary schools, because we have the primary school in Georgetown is one of the largest primary schools in the country. I think you have about 700 plus students in Georgetown primary school. We have 200 and something over at Langley Park. And we have in the region of 100 up by Dixon. I'm giving you these numbers because it is my business to know them. So we have a good catchment area. And then, of course, the Georgetown Secondary School is one of the largest. And we can get people from the lower forms to enter the police youth club, and those from the older forms to go into the cadet corps.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Gonsalves added that the activities of the PAN-sides and the police youth clubs help with the maintenance of discipline among young people.
Because man cannot live by bread alone. He has to live by the word of God. And as we are working every day, music, including pan music, is very important for our lives and for our living.
Commissioner of Police Michael Charles says he's happy to see the youths working closely with the police compared to years gone by, noting that since 2001 there has been a significant change within the school system here.
We used to have a cadet program in the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Post. And some people met me sometime going to ask why we don't have cadets anymore. But the thing is, after the education revolution, cadets, the police band cadets, is from age 15 to 18. So before the education revolution, a person who failed common entrance, he may have a chance to join the police band cadet. But after the education revolution, where no child is left behind, if you fail the common entrance, you have a chance to resit and you will be placed into a secondary school.
Members of the Calder Seventh Adventist Church on Saturday hosted its annual disability program under the theme Created in His Name. Delivering the sermon, Pastor Terence Haynes told the gathering that with life comes the troubles, but when life serves a bad hand, by God's grace, persons can make a great finish.
In the absence of his visual senses, this well-known man is standing as it were every day, and he stands and he looks begging for alms, hoping that the generosity and the kindness of the many will keep him alive. But friend, I thank God that we are not left to the generosity of sinful human beings. There is a Heavenly Father above who cares for us. As a matter of fact, the Word of God says, not one sparrow falls to the ground without the knowledge of God. And then Jesus asked the rhetorical question, aren't you worth more than the sparrow?
Police here are investigating the death of 46-year-old Paul Williams of New Montrose. His lifeless body was found floating off the reclamation site in Kingstown around 6:30 on Sunday morning. A post-mortem examination is expected to be carried out on his body. Some news from the courts now. Michael Cozier and Michelle Davis, both from Harmony Hall, have been jointly arrested and charged for attempting to smuggle a quantity of marijuana through the SVG Postal Corporation on November 11th this year. They were accused of having in their possession 1,465 grams of marijuana with intent to supply to another, and for having the drug for the purpose of trafficking. Both defendants were escorted to the Serious Offences Court today. They maintained their innocence of the charge. The prosecution had no objection to their bail, which was allowed in the sum of $15,000 each, with one surety. They were also ordered to surrender travel documents to the court and to report to the Calico Police Station on Fridays between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The matter has been set for trial on January 22nd, 2015.